In the last episode, we talked about creating instant habits using action triggers and how these action triggers preload a decision and pass control of your behavior to the environment. Today, I'm going to talk about how leaders can instill habits to reinforce their team's goals and create behavior change that doesn't tax the rider. Habits form inevitably, regardless of whether you were intentional about it or not. If you start your meetings with small talk, you've created a habit. The question for leaders is not how to encourage habits, but which habits to encourage. General William Gus Pagonis led logistics in Gulf War I. He was responsible for moving 550,000 troops and all of their equipment to the Persian Gulf. His team arranged for the serving of 122 million meals, the pumping of 1.3 billion gallons of fuel, and the delivery of 32,000 tons of mail. Logistics at this scale required clear and efficient communications. General Pagonis held a meeting every morning that started at 8 a.m. and ended 30 minutes later. In holding these meetings, Pagonis made two changes to the normal routine. One, he allowed anyone to attend, and two, he stipulated that every participant had to stand up during the whole meeting.
It's stand-up time. Everybody good to go?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So why did he do it? Why this particular habit of making people stand up? Pagonis said that making people stand up keeps the ball moving at a quicker pace. People speak their piece and then quickly yield the floor to the next person. Peers communicate with their body language when anyone starts to get long-winded, such as by shifting from foot to foot, fidgeting, or looking at their watches. Pagonis consciously created a habit. Any meeting format he chose would have become habitual. But Pagonis had the insight that the habit needed to serve the mission. The daily stand-up in Scrum, later renamed the Daily Scrum, had a different origin, according to Jeff Sutherland, the All Blacks rugby team. Before every game, the All Blacks performed the Maori warrior ceremony called the haka. This inspired Sutherland's team at Easel Corporation to read up on how the best teams in software development got that way. They came upon the story of the Borland Quattro Pro team, whose secret sauce was meeting every single day to discuss how they were performing and swarming on problems. At Borland, the daily meeting was an hour, which Sutherland thought was too long, so Sutherland reduced the things that needed to be communicated down to 3 questions. What did you do yesterday? What will you do today? And what is blocking progress? There were 3 rules. The first rule was that the meeting was at the same time every day, and everyone had to attend. The second rule was that it couldn't last more than 15 minutes. And the third rule was that everyone had to actively participate. To help with this, Sutherland had everybody stand up. A problem that came up was treating the meeting like a status report. Sutherland suggested a more optimal approach is to treat it like a football huddle. A wide receiver might say, "I'm having a problem with that defensive lineman," and an offensive blocker might respond, "I'll take care of that. I'll open that line." The team confers on how to move toward victory or advance the mission. If you want a habit to support a change, the habit needs to meet 2 criteria. 1, it needs to advance the mission. And 2, it needs to be easy to embrace. Consider a 1-year study of dieters conducted at Penn State University. A baseline diet resulted in a loss of 17.8 pounds a year. Sounds impressive, right? But once the program ends, old habits reemerge and weight creeps back up. One of the warning signs was that only 1/3 of the dieters rated themselves as feeling very full when on the diet. Other dieters in the same study were asked to eat 2 cups of soup each day, in addition to regular meals. They lost 15.4 pounds, but more than half of them rated themselves as feeling very full. Eating 2 extra cups of soup is an easy habit to implement, and it helps advance the mission, controlling portions at meals. In the end, it all comes down to being intentional. Your behavior as a leader is going to influence the creation of habits. Are you creating habits that advance the mission? If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can subscribe for free. On LinkedIn, click the follow button next to my name. On IGTV, you can just click the person icon with the plus next to it.